Listen carefully, for what you believe about money is a lie. You have been taught to seek it, to chase it, to labor for it, as if it were separate from your own being. This is the great error that keeps you in lack. I am here to tell you that the power to attract wealth does not lie in any outer action, but in a profound inner realization. There is a word, a powerful creative word that, when understood and embodied, aligns your consciousness with the infinite flow of substance. This word is not to be spoken with the lips, but known in the depths of the soul. It dissolves the illusion of a world where you are separate from abundance. In this moment, we will move beyond the theory of supply into the living experience of it. We will uncover this word and the sacred practice that makes it alive within you, so that you become a magnet for the visible expression of this invisible substance. If you are ready to turn from the outer world of effects to the inner kingdom of cause, then give me your attention. This is not an entertainment, but a journey into truth. Take the first step in this inner work by consecrating your intent. Subscribe to this channel as an act of commitment to your own awakening. Then, affirm your readiness to receive by commenting the number 11, the symbol of alignment and new spiritual beginnings. Let us proceed from that foundational truth, the great error that has been accepted as reality. This illusion is not a mere philosophical concept. It is the very chain that binds your financial experience. You look out upon a world of banks and businesses, prices and portfolios, and you perceive it as the source and substance of your supply. You see money as something out there, a separate entity you must struggle to acquire, negotiate with, or plead for from some distant cosmic treasury. This perception, this deeply ingrained belief in duality, that here you are, and there is your supply, is the primary barrier to the uninterrupted flow you seek. Think of your own daily actions. You go to a job, perhaps, with the belief that this employer, this specific activity, is the sole cause of the money that appears in your account. Or you launch a venture with the anxious hope that a fickle market or a particular client will be the source of your success. Your entire financial life becomes a series of transactions with this world of Zaz effect. You are bartering your time, your energy, your cleverness, in exchange for these symbols of supply. And because you believe in this separation, you live under the constant threat of that separation, the fear that the employer might fail, the client might leave, the market might turn. This is a life of precarious negotiation with a universe you perceive as fundamentally outside yourself. But I am here to reveal that this world of forms you negotiate with is not cause, it is effect. It is the visible, tangible outpicturing of a much deeper, invisible activity. To believe the effect is the cause is like believing the image on the movie screen is projecting light back upon the projector. It is a complete reversal of the creative order. The money, the opportunities, the resources, these are all expressions. The final and inevitable manifestation of something prior. They are the shadow, and you have been chasing shadows believing them to be solid and self-created. The substance of all wealth is spirit, conscious, living, intelligent presence. It is the very fabric of being. And here is the truth that shatters the illusion. This presence is not remote. It is not a distant God to be petitioned. It is the very core of your own awareness. The infinite source of all expression is not separate from the I ams of you. There is not God and you, spirit and your bank account. There is only the one, appearing as the seer and the seen, the provider and the provision, the attractor and the attraction. Your true identity is not that of a physical person seeking money from a physical world. Your true identity is that very stream of consciousness, that very activity of infinite self, awareness, from which all form, including the form of financial supply, naturally and effortlessly unfolds. This means the money you seek is never, and can never be, separate from the consciousness you are. The feeling of lack is not an absence of currency. It is the belief in separation from your own source. The anxiety over debt is not about numbers on a page. It is the terror of being cut off from your own being. When you worry about tomorrow's provision, you are, in essence, fearing that your own self will abandon you. See the absurdity, the profound tragedy of that belief. You cannot be abandoned by your own existence. You cannot be separated from the substance of which you are formed. Therefore, the entire outer chase is a misdirection of energy. It is you, as the projector, trying to paint new images directly onto the screen by hand, ignoring the perfect mechanism within you that is designed to project them flawlessly. Every moment spent in resentment of current circumstances, every hour lost to scheming and manipulating the outer forms, is a moment spent reinforcing the very illusion of separation that creates the limitation. You are confirming the reality of the world of effects, and thereby binding yourself to its uncertainties. Your work, then, is not to get more from the world. Your sacred work is to dissolve within yourself the belief that the world is the source. It is to turn your gaze completely inward, away from the figures in the bank statement, away from the anxieties of the marketplace, and to come to rest in the quiet, unshakable knowing of your own nature as the abundance. You do not attract money from across a gap. You allow it to emerge from within the fullness of what you are. The job, the client, the unexpected check. These are all just the forms the infinite takes as it flows into visibility through the unique channel of your consciousness. When you know this, truly know it in the very core of your being, the outer world has no choice but to reorganize itself to reflect this inner wholeness. The chase ends because you realize you were never the beggar. You were the fountain itself, and you have only to allow the waters to flow. If the world of effects is not the cause, then where does true causation reside? It is not in the outer realm of action and reaction, but within a kingdom so close, so intimate, that most pass their entire lives unaware of its sovereign rule. This is the inner kingdom, the realm of consciousness itself, and it is here, in the absolute quiet of your own being, that every appearance in your life finds its origin. There is no other cause. The market does not dictate your supply. Your consciousness of the market does. The employer does not grant your security. Your consciousness of employment and worth does. To believe otherwise is to live as a subject in a foreign land, perpetually petitioning external powers for favors, when all along you hold the scepter in your own hand. Consider the common experience of two individuals in seemingly identical outer circumstances. One lives in lack, seeing only limitation, rehearsing stories of scarcity, and interpreting every event as proof of struggle. The other, in the same outer condition, perceives opportunity, feels a sense of unfolding provision, and meets each day with a quiet expectation of good. What is the difference? The outer world of effect, the bank balance, the job title, the economic indicators, is the same. The entire variance exists in the inner kingdom. One consciousness is aligned with the truth of infinite flow. The other is hypnotized by the appearance of separation. And each, by the immutable law of expression, sees their inner state made visible. The outer world is a flawless mirror, never showing you its condition, but forever revealing yours. This is not positive thinking. It is not merely chanting affirmations to a reluctant universe. This is the profound recognition that consciousness is the only substance there is. Everything you see, touch, and experience is consciousness formed, consciousness objectified. Your financial experience is literally a structured form of your own awareness. The anxiety you feel about money is not a reaction to an empty wallet. That anxiety is a substance, a powerful energy, which then forms itself into more experiences of anxiety, producing situations. The peace you feel in the knowing of infinite supply is itself a substance, a creative energy, which must then form itself into experiences of peace and sufficiency. You are not a victim of a world happening to you. You are a center of causation, broadcasting the quality of your consciousness into form, moment by moment. Your daily life is filled with the evidence of this law, though you may have attributed it to chance. Recall a day when you awoke burdened by a sense of resentment or fear. Did the world not seem to conspire against you? Phone calls brought bad news. Interactions were strained. Obstacles appeared at every turn. Then remember a day when you arose from meditation, or a deep sleep with a feeling of inner harmony, a silent joy for no outer reason. Did not the world seem to cooperate? Unexpected kindnesses appeared, solutions presented themselves, the flow of the day was smooth. This is the inner kingdom at work on a small scale. Now, apply this same principle to the arena of supply. The consciousness of burden and strain objectifies as financial burden and strain. The consciousness of effortless circulation and divine rhythm objectifies as opportunities, inflows, and synchronicities that feel like grace. Therefore, the frantic effort to fix the outer picture is the ultimate folly. It is like trying to adjust the reflection in a mirror by scrubbing the glass while ignoring the object being reflected. If you do not like the financial reflection, you must turn not to the reflection, but to the consciousness being reflected. Every moment spent manipulating the outer form, in worry, in scheming, in desperate action, is a moment spent solidifying that very form. You are pouring the cement of your attention onto the appearance you wish to change. The only work, the only effective practice, is to turn within and assume the consciousness of the kingdom. This is a conscious inward dwelling, a deliberate knowing that the source of all you could ever need or desire is the very I that you are. It is to sit in the silence until the truth of your oneness with infinite substance is not a theory, but a living reality felt in the heart. From that center, all action becomes inspired movement, not desperate pursuit. The phone call you make, the project you begin, these are no longer attempts to wrest supply from a resistant world, but natural, rhythmic expressions of the abundance already established within. The inner kingdom, once recognized as the sole cause, turns the outer world from a master to be served into a servant to express your realized harmony. Having established the inner kingdom as the sole cause, we come to the very mechanism of its expression. This is not a process of thought, not a strategy of the intellect, but something far more potent and immediate. Within the realm of consciousness, there is a creative force that operates not through lengthy deliberation, but through a silent, powerful utterance. This is the unspoken word. It is not a sound, but a knowing. It is the moment when truth is realized, not merely thought about. It is the point of conviction where an idea ceases to be a concept you consider and becomes a reality you inhabit. This is the sacred creative act, the word made flesh within your own being long before it is made manifest in your world. You use this power constantly, though often unconsciously and to your detriment. That moment of seeing a bill and inwardly flinching with the thought, I can't afford this, that is an unspoken word. It is a creative decree issued from the throne of your consciousness. It is not the passing of a financial fact. It is the establishment of a spiritual truth in your inner kingdom. The feeling of lack you accept and embody in that instant is a command to the universe. Express this. Objectify this feeling. Conversely, the sudden, unbidden sense of peace that comes when you release a fear and simply know, without any outer evidence, that all is well, that is also an unspoken word. It is a decree of wholeness, and the universe must obey its creative authority. Your financial life is the sum total of these silent, powerful utterances you have been making your entire life, mostly by default. This explains why the intellectual understanding of truth is so often powerless. You can read all the books, recite all the affirmations, and understand the principle of oneness perfectly in your mind. Yet if this knowing has not become an unspoken word within the depths of your soul, nothing changes. The mind, arguing with appearances, will whisper, yes, but look at the bank statement. That argument is itself a creative word, reinforcing the appearance. The unspoken word I speak of bypasses the arguing mind entirely. It is a seismic shift in the bedrock of your awareness. It is the moment you cease trying to believe in abundance and instead find yourself standing within it as your native state. It is the difference between hoping the room is warm and actually feeling the heat of the fire on your skin. One is a theory about warmth. The other is the lived experience of it, and from that experience, your entire being reorganizes. Consider the process when you learn a profound truth. At first, it is an idea. You hear that your consciousness is cause. You think, that is interesting. This is the stage of mental ascent. Then, through contemplation or perhaps a sudden insight, you feel it. You glimpse, for an instant, the reality of it. The idea moves from your head to your heart. This is the embryo of the unspoken word. But the creative power is released in the third stage, when you take that felt truth and you live from it as your only reality, despite all contradictory evidence. When a financial fear arises and you consciously, deliberately turn from the outer picture and rest back into that felt knowing of infinite flow, you are speaking the unspoken word. You are issuing the decree from the inner kingdom. I am established in supply. That interaction is not passive. It is the most potent creative force in existence. Your daily practice, then, is to become the conscious arbiter of these silent decrees. It begins with vigilant listening. Catch yourself in the act of issuing the old, fearful words. Hear the inner voice that says, "This is too much," or "Money is so hard." Do not fight it. Simply recognize it as a creative command you have been giving. Then, in the quiet of your own being, withdraw that command. In its place, introduce no frantic affirmation, but a stillness. In that stillness, allow the truth to resonate. Let the reality that you and the source of all supply are one rise up not as a sentence, but as a living presence. Feel it. Dwell in it. Let that feeling become the new decree. This is not denial of the outer world. It is allegiance to a higher one. You are, in that moment, like a master composer, not by writing frantic new notes, but by settling into the perfect, harmonious chord that underlies all sound, and from that place of settled harmony, all the notes of your life must rearrange themselves to match its frequency. The outer manifestation is not your concern. It is the inevitable and perfect effect. Your sole concern is the quality of the word, the silent, felt knowing. You are eternally speaking in the sanctuary of your soul. The realization of that unspoken word brings us to the critical threshold where truth moves from concept into incarnation. Understanding is a function of the mind, but embodiment is the function of the whole being. You may comprehend the principle of oneness with infinite supply. You may even have moments of luminous insight, but until that truth is woven into the very fabric of your consciousness, until it becomes the automatic default setting from which you perceive and move through the world, it remains a visitor, not the ruler of your inner kingdom. The mind admires the truth, embodiment lives it. And it is in the living, not the thinking, where the creative power is unleashed in its fullness. This distinction is the chasm between occasional spiritual experiences and a life transformed. You can have a profound moment of peace in meditation, a flash of knowing that all is well, and then stand up, open a bill, and feel the old familiar clutch of anxiety. What happened? The truth was entertained as an idea in a quiet moment, but it was not embodied. The body, the emotions, the subconscious reactions, all were still programmed with the old language of separation. Embodiment is the process of teaching that new language to every cell of your being. It is the truth becoming so deeply rooted that it responds before the old fear can even form. When the challenging news comes, the embodied truth does not need to be recalled. It is the very ground upon which you stand, and so the news is perceived not as a threat to your foundation, but as a superficial ripple on an unshakable sea. Watch yourself in the commonplace moments. You are walking to the mailbox. The mind, trained in lack, might already be preparing a story about what bills await. The embodied consciousness, however, walks with a different rhythm. There is no narrative, no anticipation of lack or gain. There is simply presence. The hand reaches into the box and retrieves the letters. The eyes see the envelopes. But the interpretation, the meaning assigned to them, arises from an entirely different place. From the state of embodiment, a bill is not an enemy demanding a portion of your scarce resources. It is seen as part of the infinite circulation of substance. A harmless token in the flow, no more threatening than a leaf floating on a mighty river. The power is not in the paper, but in the consciousness that perceives it. That shift in perception is not a mental trick. It is the evidence of embodiment. The truth has become the lens through which all things are seen. How then does one move from understanding to embodiment? It is not through more reading, more listening, more accumulation of knowledge. It is through a conscious, consistent practice of feeling the truth until the feeling becomes you. Take the principle that you and your source are one. Do not merely think it. In moments of silence, pose it as a question to your deepest self. What does oneness feel like? Let go of the need for an answer in words. Wait for a quality of feeling. It might be a sense of expansion, of deep quiet, of boundless support. When you touch that feeling, however faintly, rest there, dwell there. Linger in that atmosphere for one more minute, one more breath. This is not passive waiting. It is active impregnation of your own consciousness. You are saturating your inner world with the texture of the truth. Then, carry that felt sense, that atmosphere, out of the quiet corner and into your activity. As you drive to work, feel it. As you prepare a meal, let that quality of quiet expansion be the background of your awareness. When the old fear, thought arises, do not fight it. Simply feel the fear fully, and then, without any violence, introduce into that feeling the remembered texture of the quiet expansion. Let the fear dissolve into the larger feeling as a drop of ink dissolves into the ocean. This is the work. This is the alchemy. You are not battling a condition. You are transmuting a vibration within your own being. Every time you choose to feel the truth over the appearance, you are building its reality within you. The body's tension begins to ease, the breath deepens. A natural sense of expectation, devoid of anxiety, begins to arise. This is embodiment in progress. The outer circumstances have not yet shifted, but the inner substance has been irrevocably altered. And because the inner is the only cause, the outer world has no choice but to eventually conform, to bring forth forms harmonious with this new embodied vibration of wholeness and seamless flow. The mirror must reflect the object placed before it. This journey from understanding to embodiment leads to the most profound liberation, the end of the chase. For your entire life, you have been taught to pursue, to strive, to grasp. You have been running a race toward a finish line of financial security that always seems to recede just beyond your reach. This frantic motion is the very proof of the illusion of separation. You would not chase what you knew was already yours. You do not chase your own breath. The moment you embody the truth of your oneness with the source of all supply, the paradigm inverts completely. You are no longer a seeker racing toward a distant goal. You become a center of conscious attraction, a magnetic presence drawing to itself the visible evidence of the invisible substance it already is. This shift is not semantic. It is existential. Chasing is an activity rooted in lack and directed outward. It is a confession to the universe that what you desire is there, and you are here, and you must bridge that gap through sheer effort. Conscious attraction is a state of being rooted in wholeness, and its direction is an allowing from within. It is the natural, effortless drawing power of a fulfilled consciousness. Just as a fragrant flower does not chase the bees, but, by its very nature fulfilled and complete in its blossoming, draws them irresistibly. Your work is not to become a better, faster chaser. Your work is to become so fulfilled in the consciousness of abundance that the forms of abundance are compelled by spiritual law to appear in your experience, not as a reward for effort, but as the inevitable corollary of your state of being. Observe the difference in the quality of your daily energy. The chase feels like strain. It is the tension in your shoulders as you force a business deal, the desperation in your voice as you pitch a client, the anxiety that claws at you when you calculate your numbers. This energy, broadcast from your inner kingdom, is a command that creates more experiences of strain, desperation, and anxiety, situations where you feel you must chase even harder. Conscious attraction, by contrast, feels like a relaxed, open expectancy. It is the energy of the artist who wakes inspired with a new idea and moves to the canvas with joy, not because he must sell the painting, but because the creative impulse must flow through him. It is the energy of the gardener who plants a seed with the quiet, absolute certainty that the soil and sun will do their work. His action is not one of chase, but of harmonious cooperation with a law he trusts implicitly. When you are in the state of conscious attraction, your actions are transformed. You still make the phone call, you still develop the product, you still engage in the transaction. But the inner motivation is utterly different. You are not acting to get supply, you are acting as an outlet for supply. The action is an expression of the abundance already alive within you, not a plea for it to come from outside. This makes all the difference in the world. People feel this energy. Opportunities are drawn to its clarity and lack of desperation. You find yourself saying the right thing at the right time, not because you cleverly calculated it, but because you are listening to an inspiration that flows from your inner alignment. You meet the right person, not because you networked frantically, but because your vibrational frequency naturally brought you into the same field. This is the great secret. The universe is a system of resonance, not of negotiation. Like a tuning fork that strikes a pure note, it causes other forks tuned to the same frequency to hum in sympathy. Your financial reality is a symphony of forks responding to the note you are emitting from your consciousness. The chase emits a discordant note of neediness, and it attracts only the discord of more obstacles and competition. The state of conscious attraction, born of embodied wholeness, emits a clear, pure tone of fulfilled being, and it must, by law, attract circumstances, people, and resources that resonate with that harmony. The check that arrives, the sudden solution, the perfect client, these are not random strokes of luck. They are the sympathetic vibrations in the outer world, humming back to you the very note you have stabilized within. Your only task is to maintain the note, to abide in the consciousness of the kingdom, and let the attraction be the natural, effortless force it is designed to be. The outer world will reorganize itself around this powerful, magnetic center of peace and certainty that you have become. When you have stabilized in that state of conscious attraction, you are no longer living from transaction to transaction, from windfall to worry. You have moved from the temporary experience of supply into the conscious awareness of its source. This is the practice of aligning with the infinite flow. It is the moment by moment orientation of your entire being toward the reality of that endless, intelligent stream of substance, recognizing yourself not as a beneficiary occasionally dipping a cup into it, but as a conscious part of the river itself. This alignment is not an event, but a continuous inner posture, a sacred practice that turns every mundane activity into a reminder of the one source and ensures the visible manifestations are not sporadic miracles, but the consistent rhythm of a life lived in truth. This flow is not something you must generate or stimulate. It is eternally present, like the broadcast of a powerful radio station filling the air with a symphony. Your financial struggles have never been caused by an interruption in the broadcast, but by your own receiver being tuned to static, to the channels of fear, doubt, and belief in separation. The practice of alignment is the fine tuning of your inner instrument until the signal of infinite flow comes in clear and uninterrupted. Every thought of peace, every feeling of gratitude, every instant of turning within to the stillness is a subtle adjustment of the dial. Every moment spent fretting over a price, resenting a cost, or fearing a future lack is a twisting of the dial back into noise. Your daily experience of supply is nothing more nor less than the clarity of your reception. See how this operates in the practical theater of your life. You are faced with an expense, a need, or a desire. The unaligned consciousness immediately looks at its resources, its history, its visible means, and begins to calculate, strategize, and often contract in fear. This is listening to the static. The aligned consciousness, faced with the same need, does the opposite. It turns away from the outer picture. It becomes still. It remembers the broadcast. It inwardly acknowledges, my good does not come from the calculation of forms. It flows from the infinite, invisible source that I am one with. This is not a denial of the need, but a shifting of attention from the problem to the source of all solutions. From that quiet acknowledgement, an idea may arise, a simple, clear next step. That idea is the first visible evidence of the flow. To follow it is to align with it. This is why ritual and routine, when consecrated with this understanding, become powerful. The morning cup of coffee is no longer just a caffeine habit. It becomes a moment to stand at the window, to feel the sun, and to consciously tune the instrument. Today, I align with the endless flow. I am a transparency for its expression. The act of paying a bill is transformed from a loss into a sacred gesture of circulation. As you write the check or click the payment, you can do it with the inner knowing, I am not giving my money away. I am directing the infinite substance, which flows through me, into a new form of expression and service. I release it with joy, knowing it is proof of the flow, and a space is opened for its continuous movement to me. This inner action aligns you with the truth of circulation, not the illusion of depletion. The flow is intelligent. It is not a blind force you must cunningly direct with your personal will. Your aligned consciousness becomes the very intelligence of the flow shaping itself into your experience. That sudden intuition to call an old acquaintance, the unexpected attraction to a new field of study, the unexplainable urge to take a different route home, these are the flow expressing its intelligence through you. When you follow these nudges, you are not following whims, you are obeying the directional signals of the infinite. They lead to conversations, discoveries, and synchronicities that form the perfect bridge between your inner state of receptivity and the outer manifestation of supply. The person you felt urged to call may have the perfect piece of information. The new field of study may open a door you never saw. This is not coincidence. It is the orchestration of the flow, and your alignment is your willingness to be orchestrated. Thus, your financial life ceases to be a series of isolated efforts and becomes a holistic dance with a living presence. There is no longer a you and money. There is only the flow appearing as thought, appearing as inspiration, appearing as action, appearing ultimately as the tangible forms necessary for your experience. Worry becomes redundant, for worry is merely a mistuning. Effort becomes light, for effort is now inspired movement in harmony with a current that carries you. you are not managing scarcity. You are stewarding infinity. And as you practice this alignment, this constant, gentle returning of your attention to the broadcast of boundless substance, your outer world can do nothing but reflect back to you in ever clearer terms the harmony, order, and boundless provision of that single unifying signal.